Right. Today we want to move on and look at organic growth. Right. We want to look at organic growth. Right. This topic that we are going to look at, it's mainly used when the organization is evaluating whether or not to accept projects. Right. Normally would want to accept those projects that add value to the organization. So there are various techniques that we use in um, determining whether or not to undertake particular project. Right. Actually, there are two ways that an organization can expand. An organization can expand by using its own resources and growing their current business. Maybe let's say we buy new machines, we open a new store, we increase the size of our shop, we increase our product range, we introduce a new product, we do a major repair. That is internal growth or organic growth. Or we can grow externally by buying other businesses. We can enter into what we call mergers and acquisitions. So we can acquire other businesses or we can join with other businesses and operate together as one. So that those are the two different ways in which we can expand. So the form of expansion that we're talking about in this class is whereby the business just expands on its own, the organic growth, whereby it increases the increases within the organization. Right. So there are many ways in which we can evaluate investments. Right. Techniques for evaluating investments. We have payback period method. Right. The payback period is mainly used by investors who don't like risk. So the payback period, it measures the period that it takes for you to recover your initial investment. That means how long. So you'll be worried with how long does it take for you to recover your investment. Right. Then we have got the discounted payback period. Right. Our payback, we are looking at, we don't take into account the term value of money. But now the discounted payback is just like the payback period. It determines how long it takes to recover your money, but now it takes into account the term value of money. When we're talking about term value of money, we should know that 500,000 that is received next year is not equivalent to 500,000 that you get today. Because the 500,000 that you have today, you can invest it, get a return, and it can grow. So you find that 500,000 that you get next year will have lesser value than 500 that you get today. Right. So that's where the discounted payback period comes in. Right. We have got the net present value. It measures the value that will be created by the project in terms of today's money. That is, in terms of today's value, what is the value that the project adds to the entity? That's the net present value. But then we've got the internal rate of return. That is the percentage return that is obtained on the capital invested in the project. So that is the overall return. That is and it's the return that will give us a zero NPV. Right. Then we have got Profitability index. So at the end of the day, we should be able to use all these methods to evaluate projects. We should be able to use this. Okay, then we also have the accounting rate of return. Now with the accounting rate of return, it measures the return in terms of according to accounting rules. So these are the different methods that we shall be using to evaluate whether or not to accept a project. So we'll use examples so that we can know how to do it and how to make such decisions. All right. So I'll be using the document that I sent to you some time back for me to illustrate some of these things. All right. We'll start with question 1 on the documents that I gave you. All right. A Vopelo of the Cross Limited is a global supplier and manufacturer of branded and generic pharmaceutical products, as well as infant nutritionals and consumer healthcare products. Vopelo is the second largest pharmaceutical group listed on the JSE and boasts of 10 manufacturing. Hello? Okay, 10 manufacturing facilities on 5 continents with a staff complement of 40,000 people worldwide. Vopelo's research and development team has just successfully completed the testing of its antiretroviral drug with improved safety profile, which can be used in smaller quantities and as a consequence will result in fewer side effects. Although this is Vopelo's initial entry to the ARV drug market, the government, being pressured by lobby groups, has finally granted the group a license to manufacture and sell this drug. The license is valid from 1 January 2018 until 31 December 2024. So that will be for how many years? 7 years. 7 years. Right, Vopelo is highly geared, and the group treasurer is concerned about how this new business undertaking should be financed. When they say it's highly geared, remember from our previous topics, that means they've got high levels of debt. They've got high levels of debt. Right, the group requires 210 million to set up the ARV drug plant and have it ready to start the manufacturing process at the beginning of the calendar year 2018. So starting in 2018. An extract from the latest statement of financial position of Vopelo of the Cross is provided below. Right. Then required they calculate the weighted average cost of capital. That one you can do it later on time. We did that countless times. Well, my area is establish the net present value. That's what I want. So we'll start from the establish the net present value, right? Normally, guys, if you're in an exam scenario, the discount rate that we use will be from this question. Okay, I'll tell you what the discount rate is, but I'm going to assume because we didn't do the first part. So establishing the net present value. Calculation net present value. Right, you should provide for all the years that are provided for the project. So saying Right. We have here year 0, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024. You should have always have year 0. Year 0 is today when we are starting the project. So we should always have year 0. The reason why is because the cash flows that happen now will not need to be discounted. So we should not mix them with the cash flows that will happen over the next year. We should not mix them with the cash flows that will happen over the next year. So that's the reason why we have to separate. Right. And they said round all amounts to the nearest two decimal places. Workings should be to the nearest rand. So it's to 2 decimal places and workings should be to the nearest rand. Right. So you have right. So they said we should use the 2 decimal places. Right. Let's go and look at the project. Let's remember that the project, we have already been told that the group requires 2 million to set up the ARV drug plant. So the 2 million will be our initial investment. The 2 million will be our initial investment. That is the amount that we're going to invest at the very beginning of the project. That is on year 0, unless told otherwise. Because we can be told that it can be paid in phases. So we have the initial investment. Remember that we are rounding off to millions, right? When money is being paid, you show it as a negative. When we are receiving money, we show it as a plus. So payments, we show them as a negative. And when you are calculating your NPV, you are only interested in cash flows. That is only those transactions that affect cash. We are not interested in non-cash items. So only cash items. Right. The group's manufacturing site will be modified to accommodate the ARV drug machinery. An existing machine will have to be disposed of at its tax value of 5 million at the start of 2018. So they are going to sell a machine because of this decision. So this is a plus. So any assets that you will be selling because of making the decision, you include them as a plus. So as long as it's at the start of the project, it will be on year 0. Right. So we'll have sale of existing machine. $5 million. So as long as they say at the start of the project, you put it on year 0. Right. Then this machine was expected to generate after tax cash profits of 3.8 million per annum for the next 2 years. Right. Now, when they say that you are selling something that was supposed to generate some money for you, there is what we call an opportunity cost. When we're doing investment appraisal, we take into account opportunity cost. That means any incomes or revenues that you are going to lose because of making a particular decision. So by taking this decision, they will lose that 3.8 for the next 2 years, and it's after tax. That means it has already taken the tax into account. So we take it as what we call an opportunity cost, and we show it as a negative because the decision for this plant, I think I hope you understand that the decision for this for selling this plant, for selling the old machine, will make them lose the 3.8 that they were supposed to earn in year 1 and year 2. So if there is any income that you will no longer get because of making a decision, that income should be reflected as an opportunity cost, as a minus. It's a loss that would directly result from the decision to acquire this new drug plant. Any questions? Right. The group is expected to pay site rehabilitation costs upfront of 15 million as the result of the new plant. They are paid upfront, so upfront is zero. All right, site rehabilitation plant, site rehabilitation costs. Right, it has been established that the actual rehabilitation cost at the end of the project will be 2/3. So this one is just an estimation of 15, but they will actually incur 2/3, but they will have paid the 15, so we don't know what will happen to the other 1/3. So let's wait and find out. The plant will be depreciated in line with the group's policy of 12.5% per annum. Right, depreciation is a non-cash item. We don't take it into account when we are doing this investment appraisal unless if we are using the accounting rate of return. So depreciation is a non-cash item. We only take it into account when we are using when we are asked to use the accounting rate of return. Right, and will be scrapped for 35 million at the end of 24. So the scrap value will come into play. So that means this is our scrap value, which will be our 35 million. It's a plus because we'll be selling the machine. Right. The group has budgeted cash sales of 84 million in 2018. The Department of Health is embarking on an aggressive awareness campaign to curb the spread of chronic diseases. And as a result, the sales value will shrink by 2% on year. So every year it will reduce by 2%. Right, Wopelo maintains a profit markup of 180% on cost. Additional site maintenance costs of 10 million per annum for the first 3 years will be incurred and paid at the end of each year. Right, so first of all, let's deal with the sales. Right, there are two ways. Either you show the sales on its own, then you subtract the cost. But now if you are in an exam, it's rather better to deal with the gross profit straight. Right, so let's calculate our gross profit. Right, we'll have our gross profits. (2024). We know that the sales will be 84 million and the markup is 180% on cost. So to get our profit, but remember this markup is on cost. So say 84 multiplied by 180 divided by 280. The 280 comes from 100 plus 280. Why? because 84 is the selling price, but the profit that we're given is on cost. If we had the cost, we're going to multiply by 180% straight. But the fact that we don't have the cost, we have the selling price, we have to multiply by the margin divided by 100 plus the margin. Right, what do we get there? What do you get? Can you give me the answer to two decimal places there? I'm waiting for you guys. Okay, thank you. That's 54. So that's 54 million. Right, maybe let me just put it as a in millions for now. But when we put on the other at the top, we'll round off. Then 2025. We know that every year it will be decreasing by 2% year on year. So in 2025, we'll have 54 million times 98%. 98% is coming from 100 minus 2%. What do we get? Right, we have got 52,920,000. Thank you so much. Right, then 2020. No, that's not 2024 year. It's 2018, 2019. Then we'll come here. That will be 2020. That's 52,920,000 times 98%. What do we get? We have 5186. I think there is a figure of one. Okay, 5. Okay, sorry, it's okay. 1,861,600. Right, 2021. That is 51,861,600. What do you get? Five zero 824 368. Thank you. Then 2022 50 824 368 multiplied by 98%. What do you get? For 9,807,881. 2023 49,807,881 multiplied by 98%. For 8,811,723. Then finally 2024 for 8,811,723 times 98%. Thank you. 47,835 489. Right, so we come here and then we enter our figures. Remember, they will be, so just say gross profit, they will be rounded off to the nearest million, and they don't start on year 0, they start on year 1. 54 52.92 51.86 50.82 49.81 48.81 47.84. Right. Then we'll go to the next one. Right. Right. Then we're told that okay, we are done with that. Additional site maintenance cost of 10 million per annum for the first 3 years will be incurred and paid at the end of each year. First 3 years. So we'll have our additional site maintenance cost. This is a cost, so we'll put them negative. So it's only for 3 years, negative 10. Right. Then a South African Revenue Service allows capital allowance on similar plans over 6 years. The group is required to pay any shortfall on rehabilitation costs and is entitled to a refund in the event the costs are less than the initial estimate. Rehabilitation costs are not deductible for tax purposes. So if an item is not deductible for tax purposes, then we are not going to include it in the determination of tax. We will not include it in the determination of tax. Right. So here they said the group is required to pay any shortfall on rehabilitation costs and get a refund in the event the costs are less than the initial estimate. Now remember that the initial estimate was 15, and they will only and we're told that they are likely the actual will be 2/3, so they will get a refund according to that instruction. So we'll leave our refund of rehabilitation costs will be the third. $15 million. We get 5 in the final year. Then after everything, we then record our income tax expense. Now, if you can see here, down here, they are now talking about the funding of the project. How the project is funded does not affect your tax calculation. So it doesn't affect your tax calculation. Right. So let's do our calculation of tax. Calculation of income tax expense. When we calculate tax, we don't have year 0. Right. The initial investment will not be included in the calculation of tax. It comes through wear and tear. The sale of the existing machine might have been included, but in this case, we're not going to include it. Why? Because it was sold at its tax value. It was disposed at its tax value. Right. When you sell a capital asset, it will only be included in the calculation of tax if you sell it at a value which is less or more than the tax value. That's when we have to take into account recoupment if you sold it at a higher price, or a scraping allowance if you sold it at less. But the fact that they sold it at tax value, that means there is neither a profit nor a loss, so you don't have to include it. Right. The opportunity cost, I'm not going to include again. Why? Because that opportunity cost, they said it's an after tax. So it has already taken into account the tax, the impact of the what? Of the impact of the tax. So we don't have to include it again because we'll be double taxing it. Right. Then rehabilitation cost, again, we don't include. Why? Because we are told here rehabilitation costs are not deductible for income tax purposes. Right. Right. We include the scrap value up to the additional maintenance. These are the three things that we include. Right. For tax purposes, the scrap value will no longer be, will not be called scrap values per se. Oh, I made a mistake here. Right. Here it will be called recoupment. The full amount is recoupment because they are providing wear and tear over 6 years. So the 6 years end in 2023, which means by the time that we sell the asset, as long as you are selling it after it has been fully provided for in terms of wear and tear, that means there will be no profit. The total amount that you're going to sell will be a profit. The total amount will be a profit if you are selling the asset after it has already been provided for in terms of wear and tear. Now, in this case, we're told that SARS are providing for wear and tear over 6 years. The 6 years are ending in 2023, which means by 2023, the value of the asset will be regarded as a what? Will be the whole amount that will be received will be regarded as a profit because the tax value will be zero by the time that you sell the asset. Now, because your tax value is zero, the full amount will be regarded as a profit. Right. But if we'd sold in the second year or third year, first of all, we're supposed to calculate as long as we have sold before the 6 years had gone, we're first supposed to calculate the, the tax value. Then from the tax value, we determine if there is recoupment or if there is a scraping allowance. Right. So then we will now take into account our wear and tear. Is a remember that the asset was bought for 210 million. So there's wear and tear over 6 years. So we'll have our wear and tear. To 10 divided by 6. What do we get? -35. Thank you so much. So it will be negative 35. Then we can be able to get the taxable income. Sorry, it's only up to year 6, so don't please, you should be very careful. It's for 6 years, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's nothing on 2024. All right, then we get our taxable income for each year. So that's our taxable income. Then we check our tax rates. The corporation tax rate is 28%. You should be very careful this year because there are some instances that they are using the now new adjusted tax of 28%. So income tax expense at 28%. Right. So then we calculate. Right. So that's the income tax expense. So that's the figure that we're going to export to this side and then subtract it for each year. I'll take those figures out to this side. Right. Then we get net cash flow. We add each year to find how much will be our net cash flow. Then we have our discount factor. So normally we'd use the WACC. Like in this case, that means if we're doing this question, we're going to take our answer from number A. That would have been our WACC. So I would say assume. So yeah, I'm going to write so that you don't get consumed. You don't get confused when you're alone. Let's assume that it's 13%. Just an assumption. Then we find our net present value. Right, can we calculate the net present value? Right, that's our net present value. Then you record your conclusion here. Now with net present value, a project should be rejected if it gives a negative NPV, and it should be accepted if it gives a positive NPV. So say the project should be rejected as it results in a negative NPV. So if our NPV was positive, then we're going to accept the project. Any questions? Right. Then I also want to do this part. Advise the group treasurer whether the group should invest in the ARV drug plant on the above and provide qualitative factors, excluding those relating to the machines they should consider. So actually, I was answering C here, that they should reject. But we also have to consider, so this is part C. Then they also asked us to look at the what? Qualitative factors. We can look at possible side effects. They want to manufacture ARVs. How about if those ARVs can will be a problem to the people? Right. They should also consider, for example, although it provides a negative NPV, it can be a sign of corporate social responsibility to invest in such a project. So you know that sometimes a business you have to suffer a loss simply for a good cause, right? Pollution of the machine. Of course, I think this one we can even discard it because they said you should not uh, use the items that are related to the machine itself. Right. Shortage of skills. Operate the machine. Project can be rejected by clients. Any questions? All right. So those are the things that we can look at. So next week we will also continue with the same topic. So please, we'll be using the same questions. As I next week I'll try to illustrate another one on NPV and also to evaluate the project using the other different methods. So the calculation of the cash flow will be the same, but the determination of the criterion is the one that will differ. So next week we'll try to make sure that we finish on this so that we can be able to do measures and working capital, which are the two major topics that we should do before you write, because I understand that you'll be writing on the 22nd. Right. And there is because of the time, I didn't know that your assessment was due on Monday. So there's a document that I just that was just prepared, but through rushing. So it will be reviewed during the weekend. But for you to maybe do some work in the meantime on it, I'm going to send you that document today. Then you work on it. Then please, before you submit, check if I tell you about any changes. So I'll send it today, later today. Then you use it to create your document in the meantime, to work on your document in the meantime. Then if I have any serious issues, I'll then tell you on the groups. Thank you so much, and God bless you richly. Have a blessed night.
Thank you.